What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Another Tuesday back in the old saddle. Stoked to be here hanging out with you guys. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. Kind of a short cold, but I still feel it in my lungs. So I apologize if I come across as a little hoarse. But we're going to just make the most of our situation here. Let's see who we got checking in. We got MJ to start us off. Hey, MJ, good to see you as always, my friend. Sway Coda, Dad. I'd gladly adopt you, Sway Coda. I'd gladly adopt you. We got Heather. Good to see you as always, Heather. Chad. We got the Tullies coming in from Iowa. Steven. Good to see my friend. Joshua as well. Great to see you. Yeah, MJ's right on the nose here. There is a lot to talk about with coaches. A lot to talk about. I'm excited to talk about that. I don't think that officially Rodgers is back with him. I think Rodgers only had a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. So Rodgers is a free agent right now. So anything can happen there. But we'll talk about that. Fellow Ben, good to see you, my friend. I am having a great week, as good as I can anyway. I hope you are as well. My son didn't sleep the greatest last night, so we're working through that. But if that's the worst I have, if that's the worst thing going for me, I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Speaking of not sleeping well, we got Kirby in the house. Chatting with Kirby earlier, he said he was struggling to sleep last night as well, doing laundry at 3:00 in the morning. Madman, you're gonna fall asleep midstream here. I don't know if the little man's around, but if he is, truths, little man, truths. I don't need to get beat up by a 4-year-old. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. All right, let's do this giveaway link. Get that going from the get-go. Make sure I got the right one here. So once again, we are going to be doing. Now, why would I have the right one? Why would I? Once again, we are going to be doing. Gift cards. We have 2 gift cards. One, I think we're down. I think we have the 2 highest gift cards yet. I think last weekend, Josh drew the $10, so we still have a $25 or a $40 gift card. And I think the plan is for me to go get some more memorabilia here in the next couple weeks when I have some free time. We're going to deal with a little coughing. Like I said, I'm getting over a cold, so I apologize. But I think the plan is for me to go get some memorabilia. So my last episode of the year for the season, which is going to be the Tuesday after the Super Bowl, I should be back to having some memorabilia. And then we're going to be kicking off into doing Madden every Tuesday night, which I'm excited about. I still need to work that out to make sure everything's good there. But if you guys like hanging out with me every Tuesday and just BSing a little bit, hearing me yap for 45 minutes to an hour, I think you'll have fun on the Madden streams as well. Lot to talk about. Feel free to start dropping burning hot questions right now. I'll save them as we kind of encounter them, but just so I have a good amount piled up. But kind of first things first, some somewhat news as far as coaching. I think it broke just the other day, so not super new news at this point, but Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. He grew up Pittsburgh, grew up in the Pittsburgh area. You know, his family has a lot of ties to the city. I remember when it was Super Bowl XLV, that was a lot of talk of that's Mikey's area, and his family was all Steelers fans, and how that was kind of a conflicting thing for him because they're all a bunch of Yinzers, but they're having to cheer for the Packers in the Super Bowl, and it was just a cool thing. So kind of a cool way for him to maybe finish off his coaching career. I can't imagine he has many more years left in him. I think he's 62 at this point. So I think that's how old I saw he was. So I don't know that he has a lot of years left in him as a head coach. That doesn't seem right. Is he really 62? Now I got questioning it. Mike McCarthy. 62. Honestly, not a bad 62. Not a bad 62. That surprises me. But anyway, you know, I don't know that his coaching career goes well beyond his tenure in Pittsburgh. No matter how long, you know, he coaches there, I don't think it goes far beyond his role or his tenure with the Steelers. It is kind of interesting because the fact that obviously Aaron played there last year, and we don't know what's going on with Aaron yet. But if there's mutual interest, there could be a reconnection. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh one more year, maybe with Mike. I, as a Packers fan, would love to see Rodgers go back to that team. I would love to see that team have some success. I would love to see a Packers Steelers Super Bowl. I think that's still like the dream as Packers fans, to see Aaron Rodgers lead a team in the AFC to the Super Bowl and have the Packers play. I think that'd be a lot of fun, even more fun with Big Mike as a coach. I have nothing. I know Mike's tenure in Green Bay kind of didn't finish the way we would have liked it, and there's obviously a lot of heartbreak in that journey. But I love Mike. I've had a handful of interactions with Mike. Every time I've interacted with him, he's always been great. Obviously, he got terminated towards the end of the 2018 season, so you know that's kind of a bummer. But it still seemed like he had nothing but love for the team and the city. Actually, after he got terminated, I went to, just by coincidence, I went to the Starbucks that he would always go to in 2018. My now wife and I went to that Starbucks, and they had his picture on the wall because he was the customer of the week for them, or the customer of the month. And if you remember in the Super Bowl XLV documentary thing, or the thing where they talk about their season, he talked about how he goes to Starbucks every single morning. So I thought that was kind of like a full circle moment. But nothing but good vibes going out to Big Mike. I hope he does really well in Pittsburgh. I have a feeling it's not going to be, you know, if there were fans already like pretty disgruntled with Tomlin, I don't think they're going to be that much more excited about McCarthy. I don't think they've really upgraded at that point, but I don't, you know, sometimes bringing in new blood is kind of a resurgent for the team. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Kyle, good to see you, man. Go Pack, go. Mike's health looks terrible. I didn't see anything about his health, but you know, at 62, he still looks pretty good. Mikey, good to see you, man. Hope all's going well. Worried about Gannon's motivation skills. Actually, funny you should talk about that. I wasn't going to jump into it quite yet, but this is a good segue here, Mikey. I still call you Mikey. Him and I were neighbors way back in the day. I always called him Mikey. So you might go by Michael now. You probably go by Michael or Mike because you're an adult now. But to me, you're always going to be Mikey. But yeah, I mean, talking about Jonathan Gannon. First off, the odds of me calling him Rich Gannon at some point in time through the roof, right? I will be calling him Rich Gannon more than likely. But Jonathan Gannon, I'm not like super stoked on the signing. I don't know, like I don't have a frame of reference. I don't know like what the answer was for the defensive coordinator. He obviously has a great resume. He has a lot of success there. So maybe he'll get the last laugh. But I was not super stoked strictly because of all those clips over the years of these like awkward interview motivational things. When he got fired, I actually texted the boys, Chad, Kirby, and Dakota. I texted them and I like sent a clip of that his like first speech with the Cardinals. And I said something like, "You're telling me that this guy couldn't fire up the Cardinals or something?" And now the Packers, or now maybe he's got the last laugh because now I need to hope that he can do his job. I will say, since they've hired him, I have seen a couple clips that give me a little bit more hope. There was one that before the NFC Championship game, I think it was against the 49ers. There's some fans outside tailgating, and Jonathan stopped, rolled down the window, and said something like, "We're gonna kill these guys today," and the fans like were hyped about it. So that gave me some hope. And then I saw some mic'd up things from him during a game that kind of gave me some hope as well. But yeah, that was that it's not the most reassuring thing. But like I said, I don't know what the answer is. At least you're taking a guy that has success. He has a record of success. He became a head coach because of his success as a coordinator. There's a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's Joe Barry 2.0," but I don't know that Joe Barry ever really had that level of success as a defensive coordinator. He had some success in other roles under a defensive coordinator, but Joe had never gotten a head coaching job from being a defensive coordinator. So I was doing some lookups, strengths and weaknesses. Kind of a synopsis here for you. Strengths generally came from schematic flexibility, disguising intentions pre-snap and creating pressures without telegraphed blitzes. So when he was with the Eagles, he was very good at getting to the quarterback. Very, very good. And that really helped the Eagles shine and get their way to a Super Bowl. Now, some critique for him: in-game adjustments and consistency, particularly in higher leverage moments, and vulnerability to elite offensive execution. So he had missteps in big games that has drawn scrutiny. Don't love that, but I mean, we kind of saw that with Halfley too. You know, Halfley's defense this year struggled a lot in the fourth quarter to really put games away. And I don't know. I've had a few people ask me how I felt about it, and I told them the same thing I kind of tell about draft picks. Like, ask me again in a few years. I think there's potential there. I but I'm once again, I'm not like super excited about it. With Halfley, I didn't really know much about Halfley, but I think not knowing kind of made it a little bit better because you're like, man, this guy's had success at every level he's been to. You know, I thought I was kind of surprised that they pulled the trigger. I know there were talks about them potentially talking to Jim Leonard, but they had to wait until after Sunday's game. Sounds like they were kind of concerned that Gannon was going to be taken by another team, so they kind of pounced on their guy. So I don't know. I don't know. You know, we will see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we can clip this by the end of by this time next year, and hopefully the Packers are in the Super Bowl and they're having an elite defense and I look stupid. That would be best case scenario. Speaking of Jim Leonard, it's expected that he is going to be the Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator. His first defensive coordinator opportunity in the NFL. Like I said, I was kind of surprised that the Packers pounced at Gannon when they did. I thought they were going to really, go through the extensiveness of kind of turning over every stone. But if they really felt like they had their guy in Gannon, you don't want to wait either. So I don't know what the answer is, but it is tough because it feels like we're in a very Kind of one of the reasons why I didn't think we should move on from Matt LaFleur is I felt like we were in this like window, this weird window that you you are kind of midway through Matt's second team with the Packers. We had the first one, the 1920-21, kind of the Rodgers era, and then you have the Love era. So it's kind of two different teams. First couple of years of Love's era, or the first year or so of Love's era, you're kind of getting rid of some of that dead cap from the Rodgers era, from when you went quote unquote all in. Um, and now you're doing the same thing in Jordan's era here. So that was kind of why I didn't want to go and get rid of Matt. But with that being said, I was kind of a little like, oh man, they signed Gannon that quickly, because I thought they were going to really do their due diligence on as many people as they could to make sure they got it right. So I don't know. I'll tell you this much. I saw, Steelers fans aren't the happiest about Mike getting hired. The Bills fans are not happy at all that they fired their head coach and just promoted internally. I think, after you see some of those decisions, maybe start saying, okay, maybe it's all right that, even more so, maybe it's all right that we kept Matt. But yeah, talking about McCarthy, Dakota said, still remember getting squashed into the fence at Lambeau Field, getting his autograph back when players lot was a thing. Man, some good memories at the lots together, man. Definitely there. Uh Jordan, good to see you, man. Sounds like Pittsburgh trying to keep Rodgers for another season. I don't blame them. He's a great quarterback. He he's he's not, I don't think he's gonna put you in a spot where you're gonna lose a game because of Rodgers. He's not gonna turn over the ball a million times or anything like that. So, and plus it only helps a young quarterback to have a Hall of Famer develop them for a year or two. Chris or MJ said, I'm concerned about his mindset being technically demoted from head coach, but he led the Eagles defense. I think in a normal job, right? In a normal 9 to 5, if you get demoted and, it might hinder your mindset, but I feel like in the NFL, that's just kind of common, right? Being a head coach is such a hard thing to be successful at, that I don't think it's not like you have another company necessarily that you can go work for, right? He could have went to the college ranks, I guess, and tried being a head coach, but their NIL thing makes it a little bit difficult. There are some guys that are just really good coordinators. The Patriots, McDaniels, he's had 2 opportunities now to be a head coach. Phenomenal offensive coordinator. Went to the Broncos, crashed and burned, went back, had a lot of success. Raiders said, hey, you know what? Let's give him another try. Crashed and burned again. Back with the Patriots, doing good things. Some guys are just great at being coordinators. And getting fired from a head coaching job isn't the end of the world when you're in the NFL. So many guys get fired. They either go coordinate for another year or two, get another head coaching opportunity because they've shown a track record for success, or they stay coordinators and they just find their success in it. It's so common in the NFL that I don't think it's seen up in that same light. Joshua, that's kind of my approach. He's guess we need to see what he can do. I feel like he has better players in Green Bay. We'll see what he can do. Holy cow, the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Ramage. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Should have had you join. I didn't know you're not going live tonight. If they wait, they can lose their guy. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Dude, it takes me a minute to work through comments. I ramble a lot, man. You know how it is. I don't have a I don't have I don't have a manager helping me with this. I'm just rambling in between comments. Um all right, man. Jordan says still Packers fan, but sucks next 5 year Packers won't be in the Super Bowl. Jordan, I know you're kind of a pessimistic guy. You and I kind of bantered about that a little bit. I wouldn't say that the Packers don't have a possibility of being in a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I think the beautiful thing about the Packers is we're competitive every single year. And whether you feel competitive enough to get to the big dance, I don't know. but it feels like the Packers can stay competitive every single year. But he says, wonder how Seattle and Patriots can get back accountability and setting the standard as a Super Bowl goal. I think there's a lot of luck in that as well. The Patriots had a really nice schedule for themselves this year. They've won the games they needed to win, of course, but they've had a nice schedule for themselves. You play a Broncos team that is without their starting quarterback and you win by 3 points. Yes, you made it to the big dance, but there's a lot of luck in there too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Matt said Ben is smart, right? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Very few head coaches never go down to coordinator. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. See, Matt's on the same page as me. Next 5 years is crazy talk. I think the beautiful thing about the Packers is they pretty much stay competitive every single year. And we talked about this last week, but with Dakota's great question, I don't think I would rather be in a world where you're competitive every single year and you're making it into the playoffs every single year. You might have a lot of failures in the playoffs, but I'd rather have that chip in a chair every single year than trying to go crazy and win it all. And then you fall on your face and then you really crash and burn. So I don't know, man. I think, I don't know. I think saying like the next 5 years is spent, like you said, the things can flip so quick in the NFL. Things, yeah, so quick. MJ, Matt and I have went live together a few times in the past, but never discussing a game. Maybe we'll have to do that again here soon. But anyway, kind of getting back to it. You know, Jonathan Gannon's job is going to be a whole lot easier now that he has a Pro Bowl corner as a Pro Bowl corner on his roster. I don't I don't I don't know what's going on with the Pro Bowl. You have Shadur Sanders becoming an alternative over Trevor Lawrence, which is just funny to me. And then Keyshawn Nixon making his first Pro Bowl as a corner, which friend of mine and I were talking about earlier, and he said that Keyshawn's only getting into the Pro Bowl so the refs can get some Pro Bowl airtime because Keyshawn, I think, is the most penalized corner this year. I don't know. I love Keyshawn for his returning abilities, and he's provided us some fun moments. But I think that's an interesting choice as a Pro Bowl corner. But congratulations to him. I'm in the category or the camp that the Pro Bowl is just becoming more and more of a gimmick. I've talked about this before, but I'll never forget was it the 2012 or 2000? I want to say 2012 season where we signed Jeff Saturday, and Jeff Saturday was benched midway through the year, towards the tail end of the year, for Evan Dietrich Smith. Bench was not performing well and still made the Pro Bowl. So it's a popularity contest, and I think my confusion with Nixon getting in is I didn't know he was that popular. I think that's the confusing part to me, is that he's that popular that he was able to get a vote. Maybe fans saw refs like calling defensive pass interference on him enough times that they're kind of associating him with being a corner. I don't know. I'm not hating on the guy, but I just don't know that I would call his level of play this year Pro Bowl worthy. But the fans voted. Ben is a Nixon hater. I don't know, man. I just, I think we could all agree, and I'm not hating on Nixon. I think, Nixon's provided some fun moments over the years, but I think we could all agree and reflect on Nixon's season and say that was not a Pro Bowl level performance by Nixon. I don't think that'd be unfair to say. I don't even know who's in the Pro Bowl. I don't pay attention to the Pro Bowl at all, to be honest with you. Next week, we won't really be talking about the Pro Bowl. I'm not going to watch it. But I didn't see your other comment. Oh, I'm watching because you're so much better than me. I'm stealing your stuff. Please do steal my stuff. I'm always stealing your stuff. Matt, how many beers have you had? You want me to send you a link? You want to jump on? Um, Chad said Nixon got in because there's no tackling the Pro Bowl either. You know, him and Valentine would fit right in. Him and Valentine would fit right in. Um, well, let's talk about the Super Bowl matchup. We obviously saw the Patriots beating the Broncos 10-7. Interesting approach by the Broncos to just ride it with Stidham. No, I don't know who you'd be able to bring in for that final week to have them prepared enough to even be competitive in that game. But outside that first drive, it really seemed like they struggled. I would have loved to see Bo Nix play. I think the outcome would have been different had we seen Bo Nix play, but who knows? That's how the NFL goes, and it's unfortunate for the Broncos because it's really hard to get to that point, right? To get to the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship game is a really hard thing, and then to have it kind of fall just shy only because you lost your quarterback the week prior, that's a devastating thing. Um, that's how it goes in the NFL. You got to win the games you got to win, and the Patriots did that. Rams versus Seahawks, man, what a devastating one. 27-31. I feel for Tay, right? Fifth NFC championship game he's lost in his career. 2014, 2016, 2019, 2020, and now 2025. All losing NFC championship games, kind of in a lot of those in some pretty heartbreaking fashion. 2014, 2016, and 2019 weren't even competitive. 2020, he dropped a touchdown that was so automatic for him that year. Dropped a touchdown in that one. Now 2025, the special teams blunder, special teams just costing these teams really a shot at the promised land. We've seen the Packers guilty of that. I actually saw a list of the worst special teams over the last decade. It might not be over the last decade, but it's over the last span of years. And it's so funny to see um, Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree all in the bottom. You had the Rams at 32nd, Packers at 31st, and the 49ers at 30th. So, man, special teams is costly. We've obviously felt that pain numerous times over the last decade. Now the Rams are part of it. 49ers have had their share. Uh, it's an unfortunate thing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm buzzed up. My man. All right, man. I'm gonna hit you with the same thing that Jordan, do you do fantasy football? I don't know. But Jordan says the happy to be in the playoff attitude is why Titletown USA is a teachable moment with younger generation fans. Pieces are so close, coaching, defense, what needs to improve, and maybe dynasty starts. Jordan, you've played fantasy football in the past. I don't remember you winning a championship. And we only had 12 teams. Shout out to Steven last week who brought that up. Winning in the NFL is very hard. Very hard. And I think the mentality that it's an easy thing is why it's called Entitled Town and not just, Title Town. It's called Title Town because of the run of the early Packers and then obviously Lombardi's Packers. But I think fans that act like it's just, it's just so easy to win a Super Bowl. That's why the Vikings haven't done it. It's just so easy. That's why the Bears haven't made it since 85 or haven't won it since 85. It's just so easy. That's why the Lions have never been. I think that's a weird mentality. There are 32 teams that are all fighting, scratching, kicking, battling it out every single week for the same goal. There are a lot of bad bounces in there. The best team doesn't always win. It is a damn hard thing to do. And Steven last week, I don't know if he's in here. If he is, he's like, hey, I'm in a 12 or 14 person league and I struggle to make a championship. I can't make a championship. I can only imagine how much harder it is with 32 people. So I think it's such a hard thing, but fans make it seem so easy. Like it's just so easy. I don't get why every team doesn't do it, I don't know why the Lions didn't get the memo that it's so easy. Like, it's just so easy. It's like playing Madden, it's just easy. If that were the case, I think we'd see a lot more teams win Super Bowls. Now, teams obviously have dynasties, and that's the nature of the business, but it doesn't mean it's easy. If it were easy, dynasties would just continue. You would never see them end. There's a lot of luck involved. There is a lot of luck involved. I know, Jordan. I love our little banter though, but you used to play fantasy football. We were in a league together. I'm pretty sure at one point in time. Gambling. I will argue gambling ruins the game for sure. Feel free to start dropping some questions. We're going to be switching over to answering some questions here shortly. So, Donnie, good to see you, man. What's up? So many Parsifal on defense with Halfley and a couple others leaving with him. He seemed like he actually had a solid defense these last 2 seasons. Do you think things changes things in a bad way now? I mean, I think, this past season, Halfley's defense was good, but there was obviously some imperfections, with really closing out games. We seem to really struggle with that. Part of that's obviously on the roster. You maybe don't have the game changers you'd like. But I don't, I don't know how much of it is going to be a hard gap to fill. I think there's roster spots that you need to fill as far as weaknesses on the roster. And there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve with the defense, but I don't know. Dennis says Love doesn't have the fire to take Green Bay all the way. Remember, Matt was offense or QB coach for Atlanta when they had 28. Yeah, Matt was the quarterback coach, so that's his fault that Atlanta lost a 28-6 lead. I don't know, man. I'm never going to be in the camp that's like, oh, he was a quarterback coach, so he's not calling the offense. He's a quarterback coach. I don't know. I think it's a fun thing to be like, oh, it's his fault because it fits my narrative, but really, like, acute. So, like, our quarterback coach now, if he went on to go somewhere, you'd be like, well, he was part of the Packers collapse versus the Bears, so he's not going to be good. That doesn't make sense. I would argue that a lot of people probably can't even name our quarterback coach. I guarantee you didn't know he was the quarterback coach for Atlanta. And to say Love doesn't have the fire, I mean, Love threw 4 touchdowns in the game against the Bears. He actually threw more touchdowns, maybe the same amount as Drake May now, this entire postseason, and Love played 1 game. So I think saying that Love doesn't have the fire to take Green Bay to the all the way is a little silly when he had over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think going on another rant here, but I think Packer fans got so used to watching Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best arm talents that has ever existed for 15 years, that now they think that that's what every quarterback needs to be. And it's going to be you're going to really hate sports if that's the case. But 32 teams, but with the biggest advantage of not having an individual orno. Is that the biggest advantage? I don't know. It might be, it might not be. I don't know. It's always a fun thing to debate. It's always a fun thing. All right, let's get into cool, Dennis. Love your positivity, man. Appreciate you being here. I love Packers fans. Like, oh, that's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. I don't know. Why do you watch then, man? Like, why even like, dude, I'm glad I'm not miserable about stuff. I'll tell you that much. Love is not the problem. I don't know. Yeah, if I watch that game, yes, the offense was sluggish in the third quarter, but if you need your quarterback to be firing on all cylinders all 4 quarters, is that really the quarterback's problem? I mean, really? He put up 4 touchdowns, put them in a position to have two field goals that were both missed. McManus also missed an extra point. So Love put them in a position to score. Would they end up scoring 27 points? Put them in a position to score 34. And somehow we're blaming him on that loss. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, let's get into these burning hot questions. Well, we may not be able to agree on Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, which I understand the argument either way on Matt LaFleur. I don't care about that, but the Jordan Love thing's silly to me. Well, we might not all agree on that. What we can agree on is that you should check out Legendaries next time you are in town for your wings. Best wings by far. Incredible sauce, award-winning sauce. Going to Buffalo, winning for their Scary Larry sauce, my favorite Buffalo sauce of all time. Go check them out when you are in town. And a huge thanks to them for being proud sponsors of the show. All right, we got some burning hot questions here. Dakota, Jordan Love needs to be throwing 16 touchdowns every game and 1,500 yards a game or bust. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, if he's not throwing record, like a franchise record every single game, if every game's not 2011 Matt Flynn, what are we even doing here, man? I need 480 yards and 6 touchdowns every single game. Otherwise, you are out. All right. We got Joshua coming in here. Joshua says, if you could get one superstar, what position would you get? All right, Joshua, I don't know the stipulations of your game here, of your question. I love the question, though. So I'm going to assume you're saying current players, if I could get one superstar from any team, not considering cap, not considering how we're getting them, not considering any of that, who would I pick? Like, who would I get? Boy, that's tough. My immediate thought goes to a corner, but I don't think I'm going to go corner. And the reason why I'm not going to go corner is I think you will need a slight upgrade at corner if you have a much more significant pass rush. So if I could get like a Myles Garrett on the other side of Micah Parsons, I think you could put me in that corner and I think we'd be okay. Like I don't know that you would need a corner to protect or to guard a receiver more than 2 seconds in that point. So I think in that situation, I'm going Myles Garrett. I love that question though. Oh, Steve, this is a doozy, man. This is a doozy. Steve says, would you give up coffee for a year to see the Packers in the Super Bowl and give it up for life for them to win it? I would not give up coffee for life to see the Packers win the Super Bowl. There's no chance on that. Coffee, I don't drink alcohol. I don't consume tobacco. I don't indulge in the devil's lettuce. I don't do any of that stuff. Coffee is like my one vice. Coffee is one of the things I look forward to most every single day. I have a work from home job. I drink a lot of coffee. I usually drink even coffee during the live shows. My life is probably 30% consuming coffee, if we're being honest. So I would not give it up for my life. No chance on that. Would I give it up for a year to see the Packers go to a Super Bowl with a coin toss that they would win it? Oh man. I don't know that I could give up coffee for a year. I don't have an alternative that I enjoy as much as coffee. I don't really care for tea as much. I'm going to say I'm mulling on this way too much. I'm going to say no, I would not give it up for a year. And here's why. If I gave it up for the stipulation, do I feel the satisfaction of the team making it to the Super Bowl? Do I feel the satisfaction of the team winning the Super Bowl? I don't think I do, because of the fact that I know it's because of my stipulation. I want the team to win the Super Bowl without me having to sell my soul for it. And that's what I tell myself. That's what I tell myself. Hey, Alfonso, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Chad says, what is your favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time? I got to be honest with you, man. I'm so bad at remembering Super Bowl commercials every year. Favorite of all time. I don't even know that it, like, I feel like you're gonna get a rant out of me here. You've been getting a lot of rants out of me for tonight. I gotta do this giveaway link here again. If you have entered already, don't enter a second time. If you haven't entered yet, enter there. We'll be drawing the giveaway a little bit later on. But only one entry per person, please. Here's kind of my little rant about the Super Bowls. Chad got me on this. I feel like I'm just ranting tonight, but hey. Here's my little rant on the Super Bowl commercials. I absolutely hate how we now see previews to Super Bowl commercials before the big game, right? You have commercials coming on that are like, what day is the Super Bowl? The 8th? Yeah. You have commercials that come on now that are like so ominous, and you're like, what is going on here? And then it says 2/8/26. And you're just like, dude, I don't need to see a preview for the Super Bowl commercial. It's not a movie. I want zero ideas of what Super Bowl commercials are coming my way. When I think back of being a kid and some of those iconic Budweiser commercials, like the Budweiser frogs, or some of the just iconic commercials that we had in the Super Bowl growing up, they were iconic because they were just debuted on the Super Bowl. You didn't get the commercials ahead of time. It was you watched for the commercials, and I feel like that has lost so much now with companies dropping it on social media ahead of time, doing these previews. I hate that. I want it to be debuted day of, no teases, no previews, no trailers. Just give me the commercial the day of when I'm expecting it, and I'll be a lot happier. It's my other rant. But I think, to kind of answer your question, the ones that jump out at me are like the Budweiser frogs from back in the day were really solid. There's been a lot of good ones over the years. I think if I sat down and watched like a compilation of them, they'd kind of come back to me. But the Budweiser frogs have to be like some that just jump out of my memory bank. Heather says, best city besides Green Bay to visit while in Wisconsin. I mean, that's a tough one. There's a lot of nice ones, like depending on what you're wanting to do. I know a lot of people love coming up to Door County when they're in, that's multiple cities, but they like going up to Door County because there's a lot to do up there. I really like Madison as well. Madison's a fun city. There's some good coffee shops. There's like farmers markets. There's a lot of stuff to do. So I like Madison as well. I'm trying to think, best city. I mean, those are probably my two that I'd say. Hey, Rhonda, good to see you. Go Pack, go. Who do Packer fans think need to replace LaFleur and J Love to stop whining about them all the time? Only Wisconsin people, Dakota. Only Wisconsin. MJ said, "Could your wife handle you without coffee?" That's a good question too. That is a really good question. I don't know. My wife and I do a lot of stuff. My wife and I do a lot of stuff around coffee. Like we love trying different coffee shops, and a lot of fun things that we do involve coffee. So I don't know that she can handle me without coffee. Jordan says, what change needs to happen to Lambeau Field to become home field advantage again? I think the Packers probably need to crack down a little bit more on the tickets. You have an older demographic that is season tickets. A lot of times they're selling their tickets to highest bidder, so opposing fans, or if they are at the game, like the one we were at against the Ravens, the people behind us didn't stand the entire time. They weren't really loud, which to their credit, they also weren't rude to us about standing and being loud. The people in front of us were standing, but they didn't stand one time behind us. I've been to games where they didn't stand behind me and they were rude to me about standing, even though everyone in front of me was standing. So I think that's really, if we're being honest, I think kind of getting some new lifeblood into the stadium would probably help a lot. I always said that if I somehow became you snap your fingers and you become the owner of the Packers, I would try to incorporate like the Clippers stadium does. They can tell how loud each fan is at their seats. I would try to incorporate that into Lambeau Field and basically have a ranking system where the loudest fans, like the top, are shown on the Jumbotron, right? You're penalized if you're loud at the wrong time, but you're like gain points if you're loud at the right time. So you there's a leaderboard. You can send your friends your stats. You guys can compete that way. And then it's almost like soccer where if you are in the bottom, if you're the bottom 10%, your season tickets throughout the season, you're the bottom 10% of season ticket holders in noise, and you didn't hit this threshold, you lose your season tickets to the next group. I think that would make Lambeau Field very loud, very hard to play in. Obviously, it'd be tough. Oh, Steve, you're right there. Doritos have had a lot of banger commercials. That's a good pull there. Good pull. Mikey says, thoughts on Rashawn Gary play in future? I think he's gone. I don't think he'll be back next year. I think he'll be cut. I don't know that we'd be able to find anyone to trade for him. We'll be drawing the giveaway here in probably like another 2 minutes. So if anyone else has any questions, feel free to drop them. Donnie says, Door County is good. Hayward is great too. Oh, Hayward is a good pull. That's a fun little city as well. Good pull there. I haven't been there in a while. I got to meet 6 Packers in Ashland on the Packers tour. Yeah, the Packers. Why am I spacing on it? The fan, what's it called? Packers. I used to go to it every single year. It's gonna come to me later. It's gonna bother me. It's not the Packers fan tour. It's fan. What the hell is it? Whatever. That's a fun thing where they go around and they hit up all the spots all over Wisconsin. That's a fun thing. God, what is that? All I want to say is FanFest, but it's not FanFest. But Steve says maybe make a new rule that you can only have season tickets for 5 years and that you have to relinquish them. I mean, I think that's good and bad, right? Like, because you keep fresh blood in for sure, but I feel like there are so many good fans that are there every single week and making a lot of noise. People that have waited forever to get their tickets, so that's the other tough part. But Rhonda says, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers if he is coming back to the Packers to retire or going to the Steelers to play with Mike McCarthy? You know, that's a good question, Rhonda. I don't know what he's going to do. And eventually, down the way, no matter what, he's going to go back to Green Bay, sign a one-day contract, retire a Packer. His number will be retired. I'll be at Lambeau Field for that. Hopefully, I'll be at Canton when he gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Speaking of Pro Football Hall of Fame, did you guys see that Bill Belichick didn't get a first ballot? We complain about Mike Holmgren not getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But if Bill Belichick isn't going to get a first ballot Hall of Fame, I don't even know what it takes to get into the Hall of Fame. I know they're always a bit harder on coaches, especially those who can decide to start coaching in the NFL level again, which Bill was coaching in college football. I don't know that he has that opportunity to come back in the NFL. So maybe they're like, hey, we're not going to do it because he might come back and coach again. But holy cow, to have him not be a pro, like a first ballot Hall of Famer with his resume, that is absurd to me. That makes zero sense to me. Dakota says, have you finished 11/22/63 yet? Which, if you don't know, it's a series. It's on Netflix right now. And then it's also a book. I watched the series. And I was like really surprised on how good the series was, how much it sunk its hooks into me. And then I realized it was a book, or I learned it was a book. And so I've been listening to it on Spotify. I have not finished it yet because I ran out of Spotify audiobook hours. I hit my 15 hours. So I need to wait until February to listen to it again. Sam says, did Donald Driver get into the Hall of Fame, or was that just the nomination I saw? He did not get into the Hall of Fame. You probably saw Facebook is filled with AI spam of fake news. And I saw that was circulating. He did not get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't think he will ever get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, I love Donald, but I think that's a very tall task for him to get in. I don't think Clay Matthews will either, or it'll be a long time. I mean, Clay's dad's still trying to get in, so I don't know. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Um, have you watched the Green and Gold movie? Joshua says I have not watched it yet. There's that one I want to watch, and then there's the documentary "Give Me Packers, Give Me Death." Both I want to watch. I haven't watched either yet, but soon enough. All right, let's get this giveaway going. If you have not entered, there is the giveaway link. Enter now. If you need me to enter for you, let me know, please, and I will do that. I know we've had some issues with people not being able to click the link or not being able to access the form. If you are one of those, you have like 2 minutes to let me know, and I will add you to the link. Before I do anything, we got to say thanks to my friends over at Nicolet Law for making these giveaways possible all year long. So quick shout out to Nicolet Law, the Midwest personal injury law firm that actually shows up when you need help. If you've been hurt in a crash, a fall, or another accident, the last thing you want to deal with is insurance companies and paperwork. Nicolet Law takes that off your plate. They walk you through your options, handle the insurance companies, and fight to get you what's fair. No upfront fees, no guesswork, just local attorneys who have your back. If you need their help, call 1-855-NICOLET or visit nicoletlaw.com. Shout out to them. Rhonda says, please enter me. Got you. Rhonda, I got you taken care of. Anyone else? We got 2 gift cards we're giving away over the next couple weeks. One's a $25, one's a $40 for the Packers Pro Shop. So good luck here. I see Rhonda says she needs to be entered. I'm not seeing anyone else. So we will see here. I'm going to go in just to make sure there's no duplicates real quick. Do my best to catch that. Not perfect, but Steve, Brian, and then Rhonda, Steven, Robert. Okay. Cool. I think we're good. I'm not perfect. I miss it sometimes. It's fine. It's fine. All right, guys. Here we go. Let's get this. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you bearing with me here while I'm doing that. So we have 24 entries. Rhonda, I got you entered as well. You're in the bottom here. So everyone else is entered there. Good luck to you guys. We will see who wins this one and then see which one they pick. Oh, of course. The rich get richer. Tiffany with the luck. Tiffany, I need number 1 or number 3, if you would, please. Number 1 or number 3. Sorry, I'm seeing Dakota's comment here. And Jay, sorry I missed you. I spun the wheel just as it was leaking. That's not good. I saw your comment. It's always a little bit delayed, but I saw your comment just as the wheel spun. So here we go. I kind of have a stuffed nose, so that was a nice thing there. Tiffany, number 1. All right, I see it, Tiffany. Oh, now I have it on my fingers. Oh God. All right, Tiffany said number 1. Let's stop sharing this. All right, good luck, Tiffany. Let's see if she can pull off the lucky guess here again. Not this time, Tiffany. $25 Packers Pro Shop gift card, which I know you will use. Congratulations. Kirby says there's going to be a 30 for 30 one day about how rigged this drawing is. Man, if I could rig the drawing, I would rig it to not have duplicate winners. Let's be honest with each other here. If I could do it, I would not have duplicate winners. I think we had 1 week where Ron, I think, won 2 weeks in a row or 3 weeks in a row. It's I don't know. It's the wheel creates some suspense. The wheel giveth, the wheel taketh. JJ McCarthy was close there, Dakota. I always love you were mixing it up on us. You were Sean Clifford there. But thanks to Nicolet Law for making those possible. Like I said, next week. So next week's winner is going to get the $40 gift card. Maybe that'll be Kirby, depending on if he prays to the wheel or not. But next week is going to be the $40 gift card, and then the week after I should be back on the memorabilia train because I should be able to get back to load up on the memorabilia. So let's get to the story of the week so we can get out of here and have a great week. No real football on this week, unfortunately. We have the Pro Bowl. What do you guys watch the Pro Bowl? Because I do not. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl I probably haven't watched the Pro Bowl since maybe the 2010 season. I remember watching like the awards ceremony for the NFL awards, and I feel like I watched the Pro Bowl that year. But I honestly don't think that I've watched the Pro Bowl since that time. So 15 years, 16 years? That's wild. I'm curious if you guys watched the Pro Bowl. I'm seeing some comments here. Let me look here. No Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl's put on for background noise. That's a good way to go. Skill Showdown is fun. I'm glad I'm not alone. Pro Bowl on in the background noise, that's the pro move. But all right, let's get the story of the week so we can get out of here and have a good week. So the Packers in 1961 finished their season with an 11-3 record. Throughout the season, Packers star Paul Hornung was serving active duty in the Army. But throughout the season, he was granted permission to go on leave so he could still play in games. Well, when the Packers made the championship game, Paul was unable to get cleared to play in the game. His time off didn't align with the championship game, so he was unable to get cleared for leave for the championship game. Well, during his time as the head coach, Vince Lombardi made a lot of good connections, some very powerful connections. So when Vince learned that Paul was going to be unable to play in the championship game, he picked up the phone and called none other than John F. Kennedy. Lombardi explained to John that Hornung had approved time off, but it didn't align with what the team needed, and just wondered if there's anything John could do for them. John called Paul's superior in the Army, which his superior didn't believe that it was actually John F. Kennedy talking to him. He thought he was getting pranked up until he actually realized that, no, it was indeed John F. Kennedy calling him. But John got Paul's time off to align with the championship game. And John actually had this quote to say about the matter. Paul Hornung isn't going to win the game, Paul Hornung isn't going to win the war on Sunday, but the football fans of this country deserve the two best teams on the field that day. Well, those fans got to witness the Packers dominate the Giants in a 37-0 rout. Hornung scored one touchdown, kicked 3 field goals, and 4 extra points in the win. So I don't know if I don't know if Hornung was needed for that win, but it was great to have him. I love that story. I love the idea of a head coach of an NFL team calling a president to have him get an approval for his player to play. That is just one of my favorites. And honestly, I thought about telling that story just because of that book, Dakota, reading that book, 11/22/63. Because if you're not familiar with the book or the story, it's about trying to go back to stop the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So, everyone's saying the Pro Bowl is not fun. I appreciate you being here, Rhonda. It means a lot to me. You're, just hanging out, having questions is always fun. Good vibes is always fun. I appreciate anyone here who's bringing both of those. Well, I hope you guys all have a great week. Go Pack, go Brian. Good to see you, man. Great seeing you as well last weekend. Appreciate everything. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And I know the Packers aren't playing, but as always, go Pack, go. I'll see you same time, same place next Tuesday night. Have a good rest of your week. Stay warm.